Good morning, my friends. Welcome into the Run Your Day podcast with Dan Hafner here. It is Wednesday, April 3rd. And before I get started today, I want to give a birthday shout out to my one and only wife. Happy birthday. I hope you have a great one. And I can't wait to spend the rest of the day with you. All right, anyway, my friends, today we are going to talk about this, the 40% rule. Thank you for joining. Really appreciate you guys coming on today. All right, so really what I'm going to talk about today is this 40% rule, and as it relates to the book You Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. And just to be upfront, I don't claim credit for any of this. I'm just reiterating what I have learned through this book and really how I've applied it in my life and the results that I've gotten. So the 40% rule, as it's lined out by David Goggins, if you haven't heard of him, super amazing guy. Like, absolutely, his story's it unbelievable, doesn't even do it justice. But the basis of it was he was severely beat and abused as a child, and grew up to be he became very overweight, got to a place where he was a rat exterminator, and just decided one day to change his life and became a Navy SEAL. Went through Hell Week like 3 times, was an Army Ranger, does ultra marathons, Badwater. Like, the guy is an absolute badass. And in one of his chapters of his book, he talks about this 40% rule. And how it applies is that you think you're giving your all. You're trying at something, whether it's fitness, whether it's a workout, whether it's a job, whether it's a relationship, an activity you're taking part of. You think you're giving it your all. You really do. Like, you truly believe, you're like, man, I really am giving this everything I have. And what the 40% rule says is that's crap. You are really only giving about 40%. You still have so much more left in the tank to give. When you're tired, when you're exhausted, when you're beat down, when you're losing, and you think you've emptied the tank, it's not true. It just isn't. And I've experienced this, especially with getting into running the past 4 or 5 years. I think it was, last fall, no, September, October, I ran a half marathon for the first time in my life. And I had, before that 13.1 miles, I had never run that far ever. I had never run actually over 5 miles my entire life at any one point in time. And even leading up to it training, I slacked off training like towards the end, and I did not even run over 4 or 5 miles. And when I was in that race, I hit a wall at about mile 7. I hit a wall at about mile 7, and I hit like this little hill in the road, and it just felt like it was a straight up cliff. Like, it just was. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to finish this. I'm not even halfway. Like, I just made it. I passed the halfway point, and I was like, oh my God, I got to do that all over again? That was hard. I feel like I felt like I had given my all. Like, I felt like I was at that point. I had never run that far before in my life. I had never done anything that physically demanding before in my life. I'd done a couple duathlons before in my life. But they were very flat, and I was in a lot better shape at the time in college. And at this point in my life, it hurt. Like, I ran into that wall, and it sucked. And then what I realized is that once I stopped and caught my breath, and I started walking, and then I started jogging, and then I started running again, I had so much more left in the tank than I thought I did. I did. I finished the race in under 2 hours. I beat my goal, my target time of under 2 hours. It was like minute 56 or something. Or an hour 56, I'm sorry. But the moral of that was that I have found that extra 60%. I had found that. And as it applies to your life, I mean, do you find yourself in any kind of situations You know, it doesn't have to be a half marathon. It can be a relationship, a a job, a specific task at a job, where you really think like, man, like I am tapped out. Like I'm giving this everything I have. And what you need to realize is that's just a fleeting feeling. It's just a fleeting thought. It doesn't last. It's not what's real. Because what's real is that you have so much more left in the tank than you even think you can possibly have. And you say, oh, well, I'm just not that mentally tough of a person. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. You just don't give yourself credit. You don't. And I know this because I've been there. I've been there thinking, talking myself out of going the extra mile, out of doing the extra work. I've talked myself out of tapping into that 60% before. I get it. It's not a comfortable place to go. When you're tapped out and you're tired, your brain's like, dude, you got to quit. You got to chill. Like, just calm down. And what it takes is overcoming that and saying no. Like, I know I have a lot more left to give, and then giving it. So that's my question for you today. Is there a situation in your life right now where you might be tapped out? You might just be thinking like, I don't know what I'm going to do to give this more. I can't go further. I can't do more. And take a step back and think, yes, I can. I have only given about 40% of my total effort that I could possibly give. I can go harder. I can go deeper. I can make this happen. So that's my question and my challenge for you today. That's going to wrap up today's show. As always, thank you all for joining. Really, really appreciate you guys every single day. I hope you're getting more and more value out of the show as it goes along here. So, as always, thank you all for joining. Dan Hafner signing off. Make it a great rest of your day.
Thank you for listening to the Run Your Day podcast. We hope you enjoyed today's show. If you did, feel free to share today's show with friends and family. Until next time, have a great day.